Well, hello again, everybody. This is John Norris at Trading Perspectives. As always, we have our good friends, Sam Clinton and Courtney Trush. Y'all say hello.
How's it going?
Hey, John.
Hey, guys. You know, unless you've been living in a cave really for the last, 4 or 5 months, you have probably read something about Twitter. If not for Elon Musk and all that stuff.
Probably on Twitter, you read it.
Yeah. Could be. And, you know, when I think about Twitter and all this type of stuff, and Sam, you and I have talked about it, I know that you use Twitter far more than I do. Matter of fact, I got rid of my account at Twitter. Even so, it seems as though that's where a lot of people, particularly your generation, maybe Courtney, since she's significantly older than you are.
Thank you for that, John.
Well, you're more than welcome. I was just waiting for a response, and I finally got
exactly.
it. But a lot of young people seem to get most of their news off of Twitter or also off of social media. And Sam, what do you think about when all of a sudden you kind of take a step back and you realize just how much information you are actually sharing just by posting your opinions on Twitter?
And it's insane, and it's not just Twitter though. I mean, it's really that problem is across all social media platforms. The information you're giving and the way these companies can gather that information and really start to tell a lot about an individual, anyone, what they're posting, what they like, what they don't like, their thoughts, opinions, everything.
And you think about it, it goes beyond, the borders of a country. I mean, it truly is around the world. Anybody can access your information and also impersonate you, which can be scary.
You know, Courtney, you're right about this going across country borders. And the weird thing, when you mentioned that, the weird thing that came through my head, thinking a little bit differently this morning, is that, I sometimes take a look at the geographic reach of this particular podcast. And believe it or not, we've unique downloads in over 100 different countries and localities around the world. And when you mentioned that, all of a sudden it came to my mind, there is someone that is in Laos right now, the country of Laos, that knows that you have a particular brand of creamer that you like, and there's a type of sausage that you love.
You're welcome.
So that is the type of information that we're sharing, whether it's intentional or unintentional, just by putting our thoughts out there. There's algorithms, there's computer programs that are parsing our statements to find out what we like, what they can use to market more effectively to us.
And you know what? Some of it I don't mind. If you're going out and liking posts by something or following something, it's kind of nice when the advertisements you get are targeted towards something that you would actually maybe use or maybe buy or maybe find something you didn't know about that you would like. To me, the bigger fear beyond just the advertising is the much deeper, more important, more secure kind of information that some of these companies can get. And, TikTok's the one that's in the news now a lot about whether it should be even banned in the U.S. because, whether it's owned by the Chinese state, the information they're getting. I mean, there's people now saying that they can basically get the keystrokes that you're making on your browser and get other information such as bank account information.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, government officials aren't allowed to have it on their phone. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of anecdotal evidence, news stories about not just TikTok, but the information that you're giving out. It doesn't just come from that platform. It's what they can get on the rest of your devices.
So if you weren't already paranoid about what entities or countries should be or could be getting your information, you should be after listening to Sam.
Well, listen, Sam, as we all well know...
Most cynical person in my generation.
Well, I was going to say he's from Texas, but but you mentioned the most cynical.
Two things may overlap a little bit.
So, what's kind of scary, really, because you're right, all the information that you share, some of it, while we're talking almost deep state type stuff, you take keystrokes and all that, people just willingly put stuff out there.
Opinions,
not even opinions, like personal information. Like when I'm not going to say I was the earliest adopter of Facebook, but I joined Facebook years ago. I mean, Sam, I think my hair color was about like yours when I first joined
Were you
Facebook.
in college when you joined, John?
Oh, no, I was well out of college when Facebook was
Because Facebook just started with you had to have an EDU.
Well, thank you so much for listening. So, but when I joined, I guess about 14 years ago. I mean,
when you started the bank.
What is it with you this morning? What do you have in that cup? When I joined it, the show The Walking Dead had just come out, and I think I might have told you this one. The show The Walking Dead had just come out, and it's so like share this information with us. And so, what are your likes? I don't know. I saw that the pilot for that show the other night. I kind of like that. I don't typically like zombie stuff, but that was extremely well done. AMC had been promoting the heck out of it, if you remember, and so I watched it, and it was entertaining. So, all right, I like The Walking Dead. I like Frank Sinatra. You know, I mean, this type of stuff just kind of rattle. Here's my birthday. Here's my wife's name. Here's my kids' names. All that stuff. And so after I do that, I wasn't on it much, but every time I was on there, it was, hey, you like zombies? Or, you know, don't forget to join the zombie convention, or all this stuff. I mean, Iron Maiden music was coming. It's just like, what in the heck is going on here? Because I had completely forgotten that I said that I liked The Walking Dead, and I really thought something was warped with my phone. I was beginning to think that there was something very sinister about Facebook. That's all they're showing me is just like this horrible melted faces type stuff. I'm going, I got scared going on there thinking I was going to go to hell, and then all of a sudden I looked at it and go like, what is going on? And then I looked down and go, oh, I said I like The Walking Dead, and now they're just, and that's when I realized, what in the world am I doing putting all this information, my birthday, all this stuff, my age, where I live. It's actually like I just willingly gave it to these people who I don't know, stuff that I wouldn't give people in the office.
Would you give that to someone, like an official in China? Like, who would you, you know?
Information I wouldn't give someone on the street, but here I am going, okay, I'm going to give you all this, and just, next thing I know, I'm sharing all this information. I went through there, Sam, deleted all my likes.
Well, but it's still out there.
Well,
you need to be quiet.
and you know what? You know, like I've heard the saying that like if the service is free to you, you're the product, or like you're what they're making money off of. And you said this was what 10, 15 years ago. I mean,
whatever. So
all of this, these platforms get better about knowing you the longer you're on it, the more data that you put on it, the more you interact with people. And so, you know, when you're starting and you have a few likes, it's thinking that's pretty much all you like. And that's, to me, what the fear is the more ingrained you are in these platforms and the longer you are on them, the more data they have and the more valuable they are and the more they know about you. And, you know, not to put a tinfoil hat on, but the platforms are, it's just built on data. It's built on, you know, the more data that you have, and it's just, it's learning.
Well, I think with Twitter, I mean, also the scary...
I'm just thinking about you wearing a tinfoil hat.
Yeah. The scary part is the fact that they were saying that not only do they not have good security measures to protect information. You know, we know that obviously working in a bank, only certain people have certain access to do certain things, and that's just as we continue to grow, that's really important. And so the whistleblower was saying, oh, well, a lot of people have access to do a lot of things probably beyond what they should be allowed to do. And then the thought that people were potentially, I guess, spies that, you know, were working for other countries that could be stealing information. And, you know, I go back to, I can't think of the name of the show, John, but it was about Russian spies.
With Carrie Russell in it?
Yes. What was the name of that show?
I don't know. I just knew it for her.
Yeah. But, you know, I go back to think about that.
The Americans or something like that? Yeah.
And it seems like so far-fetched. Like, that seems like, oh, that's in the, you know, Kennedy era, not present day, but it's very real. And, you know, I think you forget as the consumer, to your point, Sam, like what you're constantly building on top of, even just what you're searching for in Google.
I mean, it's, you know, people don't really ask the question. It's like, how are all these platforms so, like, they're free to everybody who uses it?
That's right.
Yeah.
So they've got to be making money somewhere, right?
Yet they're some of the largest companies in the world.
Well, they're selling the information to advertisers.
Yeah, and whose information?
Our information.
Our information.
Right, and even if
can I borrow your hat there for a second?
If they can access your password, I mean, think about how many people use the same password for multiple things. And so once they get it, and then they are able to track your search engine, like what you're searching for, like to your point, your bank information, stuff like that. I mean, it really is a scary, you know, scary to think about what all they can gain access to. And then you think,
so what's your password?
I'm not telling you. You know, they've actually done like TikToks or whatever where they'll ask like young people, oh, what do you typically do as your password? And they're like, oh, normally it's like my dog and the year I was born and an exclamation point or something like that. And they're like, oh, okay. And they keep talking. They say, oh, what year did you graduate? And they tell them, they're like, oh, okay. And what's that cute dog's name that you have in that picture? And then, like, she basically gives them her password in the course of, like, a few minutes.
People are way too trusting,
Yeah.
both in other people and these institutions.
Well, I think that's
We
the
see,
point.
I get it really screwed up because what I do is I use Courtney's graduation date and the name of your dog. No one's ever going to figure out
Especially since I don't have a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Really difficult.
Buster, you know.
Buster. But what is
Big
the
text.
what is the company's responsibility to the consumer?
I don't necessarily feel as though if you willingly give information to a Facebook or whatnot, it really has any responsibility to you at all. I mean, that's my personal take, and a lot of people would disagree with me.
I just think people are too trusting of what these companies, you talked about different people here having access to different things and security clearances to do certain things, and you're trusting that that companies with tens of thousands of employees have these appropriate security barriers in place when it's been proven that they don't.
Okay, it would be impossible to.
It'd be impossible, but it's been
but-
proven. It'll be like a low-level employee like kicked the president off like a Twitter a couple years ago or something for a day. I mean,
if you think about the number of people that are using Twitter or have a Facebook account or what have you, or on the Insta Snapgram, as I like to tease my children, come on, Dad, just the my Insta scrap, anyway, you catch my drift. How many hundreds of millions, if not billions, of accounts are there out there? People having multiple accounts. I mean, sometimes. I mean, you've got to have your own little troll account. Isn't that right, Sam?
I don't. I can't speak to y'all, but
I feel like the youth now, they have like one that they actually like put pictures on, and then one that's like for public viewing. Like they have fake names.
Well,
We've talked about that
the
before.
crazy thing is this guy from Moscow called me up and said, I will pay you much money if you open up an account with this name. All you have to do is go out and bash America in your tweets. And I go, that sounds easy. No, but there are people that do that type of stuff, truly.
and it's automated too.
But if you think about how many hundreds of millions, billions of accounts out there, the number of tweets that go out every single day, the number of posts, the number of stupid TikTok videos. I mean, it's just people dancing
It's
or
all stupid.
it's dumb. I mean, it's just think of all that, and then you think that with all this information that's being shared, there's some kindly Santa Claus type figure at a Twitter or Facebook that is looking out for you, Sam, looking out for you, Courtney. I think that faith is kind of misguided, sort of like maybe believing in Santa Claus himself. Your thoughts on that, Sam?
I think that is a trend. I think that is a newer trend as people starting to be less trusting in those institutions. But I think the problem is people.
Come on.
Younger people are getting on it younger and younger, and those people are too trusting. I think that's
Yes.
the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, if more people in your generation were perhaps not as trusting as you aren't,
Yeah.
because you're cynical.
Yeah.
And we've
Extremely.
established that, I
We
think.
had to figure out what makes Sam that way.
Being a realist.
Pragmatist? No, just seeing the way the world works, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, Courtney, when you're on Twitter, what do you like to tweet? And,
She told me she got on Twitter to see when Prince George was born.
Yes, because the Buckingham Palace or whatever,
whatever.
or Duke and
Or
Duchess.
whatever.
Duke and Duchess.
The Valley
Cambridge,
Girl? The
oh,
Valley
yeah.
Girl amongst our lips? It was so tubular when Prince George was
Not
born.
say tubular. But that's how they announced it, and so I had to know, and that's why I joined Twitter. And I don't know my
That's not
password. I have
even
no
our
idea
gossip.
how to even.
That's not even our gossip. That's British stuff.
I know, I'm obsessed with it. It's so interesting to me.
Well, why like Prince George? I mean, if you're going to be obsessed with a royal, I think maybe Kate Middleton would be the one that most people would be obsessed with.
That's a good one. It's the
Yes.
entire family. It's not just like one individual. But
Which one do you like?
None of them. I'm not a fan of royal family.
anyways, one thing that you said is that it's up to people. Like, so if you have someone hack into your system through using Facebook or Twitter or what other, form of technology that you're using, if they hack in, you're saying that the company is not liable for that. But yet, there are situations in which if you break a rule, I'm trying to think, I guess they can say, hey, don't step past this yellow line or you could get hit by the train. But yet someone passes the yellow line, they get hit by the train, and then they sue the train company for hitting them with the train.
That's so dark.
It is, but I'm just trying to like put it in a visual for you. for you.
Very visual.
Because I think that people forget, like even though the internet is, you can't see it, like things are happening. There are
Well, there should
bad effects. So the company, could you not sue them for the fact that they had poor infrastructure, didn't have security measures in place that made you more vulnerable?
Probably. I mean, and you are giving this information. I mean, whether it's, a bank, a social media company, you're always like interacting with companies and giving personal information. And I think there is some expectation of security around that. The problem is that people are trusting that that's going to do a good job. It's like if they, like these companies have made misguided steps and done things wrong and security clearances, all that stuff happens. They probably should be punished for that, but that doesn't mean you should trust that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen even though it shouldn't happen is what I'm getting at.
There are certain institutions where I think the bar is higher for fiduciary sort of type responsibilities. Your financial services company, your doctor's office, your legal office, CPA, people that are in the business of protecting your personal information. I don't think Facebook has ever said that we're in the business of protecting we're in the business of
selling your
personal information. So I don't think that they should be held to the same standard as perhaps a bank, but I get your point. And the thing is, sometimes the rules are pretty opaque, not terribly transparent. I mean, years ago, this particular podcast had a Twitter account. I mean, remember that? Mm-hmm. And we said something about Bernie Sanders or something like that on one of our tweets, or come listen to what we have to say about Bernie Sanders' misguided economic policy or something. And we were put in the box, and we just didn't really understand why. But that's what happens, and it's their platform, their rules. We didn't follow their rules. We didn't know that we didn't follow their rules, but we got put in the box.
Got kicked off of Twitter?
It didn't get kicked off, but they quit promoting us, and they quit. They essentially, put us in the penalty box.
Gotcha.
So, we were kind of, and that's when we decided to shut that one down, right?
Yep.
And just start a new one with a different title.
This time we'll call it Trading Perspectives, but with a Z, to make it more Sam's generation sort of popular.
I like it. Cool, yeah. Put an E backwards on it or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to get someone even younger than Sam, because Sam's generation now is becoming like middle-aged.
Middle-aged?
What does that make you?
Yeah.
I'm still middle-aged, too.
I'm middle-aged if I live to be 108.
Then you just told everyone how old you are.
It's not that big a deal. I mean, people look at me. Some people think I looked. I've told you that story. That woman thought I was 70, didn't I?
No.
That's awful.
That's not true. You don't have any wrinkles.
I like that. But this is in a somewhat darkened room, and she asked me if I knew her brother, whether or not I was friends with her brother in high school, and I happen to know her brother, and her brother is 69, 70 years of age. I said, no, he's a good bit older than I am. And she goes, well, how was I supposed to know? It's just like, well, you diss me, and then all of a sudden you're rude to me about it. In any event,
It was your fault.
It was my fault. But I guess maybe she would have known my age had I shared my birthday out on social media, which I don't do.
And I'm sure she's on Facebook, so she probably would have seen that.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't care. But back when I had for a while, I did keep my birthday out on Facebook, and it was amazing how disappointed I would get when I didn't get enough happy birthdays on my birthday, and so that's when I took all that information down, so I wouldn't get
sad on your birthday.
Man.
So Courtney, in the end here, we kind of gone on long, and I'm not sure we really addressed the topic that you want to.
I kept trying to bring it back to the topic.
Well, I mean,
we're talking about John's age.
But it is amazing how much information Americans, and not just Americans, people around the world, share on their social media. Just willingly. And, if people really took a step back and thought about, would I share this with a stranger off the street? The answer probably would be no. But yet you're sharing it with strangers around the world, and you're sharing it with corporations whose modus operandi, their MO, is to make money off of you. And the more people realize that, I think the less information people would share. Sam, your thoughts?
I completely agree. The question mark is getting that in the heads of younger and younger people who
Because this stuff is horribly addictive, although there's no chemical substances.
Right, and I guess the question is, should the government step in, or should some entity regulate?
That's
what
the
they're-
scariest question I think you could ask
Yeah.
about anything is, should the government step in?
The more,
Or should there be some
the
type
more
of
power-
industry standard?
The more power that the government has over what we say and do, the worse off it is for individual consumers. Sam, your thoughts?
100%.
Courtney, what do you think about that?
I mean, it works. It's an opinion. Do you think that Elon Musk will pull out or use this as leverage to renegotiate his purchase of Twitter?
I'm sure he would like to renegotiate the
Yeah,
purchase.
sure. Yeah, why not? Why not? We don't
I'd like to buy something cheaper than I
Yeah.
offered to buy it at.
Yeah, that'd be worth. That'd be. You know,
If you were doing your due diligence and somehow find a violation of the contract or something.
That, or you just have buyer's remorse and think you bought
There's
it too.
probably a little bit of both with that guy.
I would assume so.
There you have it. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for listening. We always love to hear from y'all. So if you have any comments or questions, please, by all means, let us know. You can always drop us a line at tradingperspectives@oakworth.com, where you can leave us a review on the podcast outlet of your choice. As always, if you're interested in reading more or hearing more of what we have to say or how we think, please, by all means, go to oakworth.com and take a look underneath the Thought Leadership tab for all kinds of exciting information. With that, I'm going to give you guys the last chance to say some stuff on this topic.
That's all I got.
That's it, John.
That's all I've got today, too. Y'all take care.